So why we are here all today? Everyone talks about AI, and we are not exemption, of course, Natalia. And today we're gonna discuss quite an interesting thing, as maybe just to give you a little bit more information on what AI governance is, because we all talk about AI governance, but sometimes even we do not understand what this actually is. So to be on the same page, we will just spell the rumors here, and we will also discuss how to build AI governance and who can help with this. Is this in-house? Is this consulting firms? All exist. I know that in-house can have a lot on their plate to do so, and consulting can help, and vice versa. So today we have Natalia, who is from consulting, and me, who is from in-house, and we will actually discuss the pros and cons of both sides. And yeah, and just actually support you with this. And yeah, before we start with this, you need to know who we are. So, Natalia, just give a little bit of intro about you.
Yes, sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Natalia Anisimova, and I'm a privacy and governance consultant with TPO Europe. Today, I'll be sharing my consulting perspective on what tends to work in practice, AI governance wise, where companies usually struggle, and where I believe consultants can bring the most value. So, yeah,
Yeah,
happy to join the discussion. And Tanya, back to you.
yeah, and just also note you also have AAGP certification, yeah?
Right, I'm an IPP certified professional.
Yeah, so this person here is not the person who loves AI, but also knows a lot about AI and governance as well. Um, my name is Tatiana or Tanya. I hold certifications in Europe, US, Canada, AIGP, and privacy management. I don't remember all of the certifications, to be honest. That was my great time when I was doing all of them. I'm also working with AI, and I'm working as the senior privacy counsel at Booking.com in Amsterdam. So yeah, I have quite an experience of building AI governance at Bolt, a company like ride-hailing company. So that's why I'm here to also bring my perspective. What was the difficult part building this from scratch? And I'm super happy for you because if I had the same people as me and Natalia just to tell me what to do better, whether to hire consultant in-house, maybe it will be better experience for me. But this is the mistake that I'm also gonna share today with you. Okay, so before we even start diving into the context, who from you know what AI governance means? What does it mean? And you can write in chat like, yes, I know, I don't know, or you can write whatever you want in chat. And the main goal is to understand who from you knows what AI governance is. Yeah.
And maybe also a couple of, just some notes on whether you're a consultant yourself or an in-house professional, just for us to get a better
Yeah.
understanding with our audience.
Yeah. Or I see a person who doesn't know what AI governance means, but that's all right, because I also will say that I don't know it quite well, what it is until you start building this. This is what you understand when you are doing this. Okay, so Natalia, do you know what AI governance means?
Well, I believe that AI governance entails three main things. First is clarity, knowing what AI is used in the business context, what risks it creates. Second would be ownership. So it's very important in AI governance. I think it's one of those cornerstones when you need to know who's accountable for the use cases, the systems, the processes. And third would be the evidence, being able to show actually that risk assessments, reviews, and whatnot are actually happen. So I believe AI governance goes beyond the documents, the policies, and encompasses at least those three things.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. From my understanding was firstly when it was built in AI, that AI governance is first of all, I don't know what it is, but it's actually when you just put a law into the processes. But
Mm.
then when I was doing this, I understood that for me, AI governance is even more like this. Is just a shared understanding between you as the lawyer and the business, what you are doing. So it's not basically putting theory and law into the processes, but be aligned what you are doing. This is exactly what I said to you in the beginning, that we are here to understand and be on the same page what AI governance means. So this is exactly what AI governance for me is, just to have an understanding what we're doing, what is responsible AI, and this is how we govern this. But I don't know whether there is any definition, like official definition of AI governance, because this is just a term to actually understand that you implement the law into the processes, like data privacy governance or whatever. So there is no such a definition, but you just need to understand that governance means that you manage everything that is stated in the law in your own company. So this is governance. So yeah. And yeah, but the most important thing, yeah, we were thinking that you said that it's something more than a document. It just goes beyond the document. So it ties to the question, when does it become real? If it's not a document, because we know that documents are usually created when there is a law. But AI started being in companies quite before law was implemented and adopted. So when does it become real?
Well, my personal view is that governance becomes real when it changes behavior within the company. So, as we've said, the documents could be written, but no one actually will read them, and therefore we will not be speaking about the mature process. So only when you have teams that know when to involve AI governance specialists or when they're developing something, not just before the launch, when the employees actually know what data they should not input in the AI tools. And most importantly, they not only know, but they are also don't do this. And I also think that, of course, it takes time. Governance is not a project, it's a process. Therefore, for me, this change in the behavior when not you are actually, I don't know, targeting your product team, whether there are any updates, but when they are proactively reporting to you, then I think when AI governance becomes more than just a policy and becomes real. So
Yeah, yeah, and also one important thing is that AI governance also becomes real when it actually goes outside of planning like rooms into work. So when it actually start affecting people.
mm,
And it also ties to a question, okay, so when it affects people, as I said, AI was quite before the law. Have you
mm.
had any cases in your experience when there was an issue that company was developing AI, but there is no AI Act adopted yet? That company was contacting you as the consultancy, like, oh, we are going to do AI governance, even if there is no law adopted yet, because we see that it affects us. Um, have you had any chances or companies that usually go when there is an act?
Well, surprisingly, even some startups, because they've, of course, heard that it's in development, the UA Act, and they thought that they need, in order for them to launch successfully, they need to start working on it early on. But of course, what's gets tricky, for example, is that basic risk classification was not yet sort of enforced, and therefore there was a lot of room for for interpretation, and of course that's a challenge. But thankfully now we have a better understanding of what EU regulators are wanting from us. And I believe even though most companies are working multi-jurisdictionally, I would say still EU AI Act is a good bet that if you are would be compliant with the act, that most likely than not you will be also just fine with other regulations.
Yeah,
So.
I do agree. I do agree. In my experience, what I remember is that the company, first of all, as the lawyer, we were also not pushing the company when AI Act was only discussed. We were not pushing the business to kind of
Mm,
do AI governance because it's rules that needs to be followed, and of course, no one wants the company to follow the rules that are not yet even implemented, and it's extremely hard to pitch to the company like why we should implement some kind of things if they are not even like voted for. And but what I know is that the business is really, really happy to do is to do the responsible AI. So when you just give them principles that are quite logical, like don't use vulnerabilities of people, don't do this or that, that is quite human centric. That's
mm,
the business really wants to implement. So that's if you are now in a company, given that EU AI Act high risk system will be enforced only starting in 2027. Don't push your business hard on this. I mean, yes, you should still work on this, but don't push them hard. I would just suggest that rather give them principles like responsible AI rather than push them through the rules right now. Yeah, so that what I saw
mhm.
regarding the AI governance as well. Um, okay, so we kind of discuss when does it become real, and we also touched upon like given the principles, don't push your company really hard, especially when the rules are not clear. Um, so it actually leads to the question, so what is minimum viable? It's like MVP. If you're someone from you are working in IT company, I think that you know this MVP that is always like from each and every iron in the company, like we are working on MVP. Um, for AI governance, what is minimum viable means for you?
From my perspective, a bare minimum should include, I would say, five things. First, it's AI inventory because you cannot govern what you don't know,
Yeah.
and that's probably the first thing that we, as the consultants, do as well, just to get a better understanding what are being used at the moment, what are the use cases. Second, I would say you have to have an outline of risk classification. So, because not every AI tool that you use should be to them should be applied the same level of control, even though ideally it is, but or you should strive for it, but sometimes you have to set your priorities. Then I would say clear ownership because I would say it's probably one of those problems that especially consultants are struggling with because at the end of the day, the accountability stays within the company, and you have to know not just a certain team that will be responsible, but better a person, a business owner. And yeah, sometimes you really need to push for this clarity. What else? I would say just the basic acceptable use rules, just some, maybe a one pager of what you want to or don't want to see as an input in the AI system, because most likely than not, people will not read 50-page long policy. Then I would say you have to give them as a minimum just a one pager with you know do's and don'ts basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I you know of course monitoring post deployment, etc., it's very important, but I have to say that if we're talking about minimum, then probably the escalation route would be also up there, because at the end of the day, when something goes wrong, it's better to have this. this understanding, especially from the employees who are client facing, what to do, and what are the triggers and to whom to report. It shouldn't be like really complicated. It could be a Slack channel or something like that. But this clarity, I think that what helps company to stay on top of their governance
Mhm.
at the beginning.
And when you were talking about clear ownership, what exactly you meant there? Clear ownership was who is driving this, who is responsible for AI in general, or all of the above?
I would say it's responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. This RASI
Mm-hmm.
metric.
This person. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And the uh, processes within the governance are like should we should divide the processes in accordance with the metrics and yeah, from my perspective, I know that a lot of companies do put just teams as the responsible, but when there are just too many people responsible, no one is responsible in reality. So I would say also piece of advice just to put a real accountable person, if not the name, then the title, so it would be clear.
Yeah.
I was wondering, Tanya, like from your perspective working inside a company, um, were you able to have this clear ownership or maybe
Yeah, so from my experience, it was a really good case in a way of ownership because first of all,
Mm,
it was the main question who should be doing this, legal team or privacy team. Both are lawyers, but in different perspectives. But we were able to actually agree that it should be privacy team. I know that for a lot of companies, this is legal teams, and I don't quite agree with this sometimes because AI is kind of the same as GDPR. So, and it's still protection of personal data and etc. So it's easier for privacy teams to implement all the assessments into their assessments and know from where to start. And we will talk about this later as well. From my experience, it was really great because we understood who should drive this, and I was assigned as the driver of this. I was super
mhm.
happy, to be honest. Yeah, I was really happy, but I
Mhm.
was scared. And from where I started with AI steering committee. So it actually a lot of people like engineers, products, and etc., who were involved into this and who were just driving it from different angles. So it wasn't like me driving this across the company. I was only the one who was providing the rules and direction. And it was great because there were ownership who is driving the AI onboarding, who is driving AI rules, who is supporting on AI policies, reviewing, etc. So it sounds like more logical and natural than just rules from the law. So, and I would say that first of all, really establish the ownership because it's either you who is doing this and you find people in the company who can support you with different pieces. Don't do this alone. This is never, as in privacy sphere, this is never ever your own responsibility, be you legal, be you privacy, whoever you be. It's always the responsibility of everyone. So that was a great point from Natalia that I also like highlighted that ownership is the necessary part. And second, be the driver, like as the privacy team member or legal team member. Just remember the phrase of the CEO, CEO of the company where I had been working on is that 90% shouldn't be perfect. So this is how companies are thriving is that, and you can become a partner, is that 90% of work shouldn't be perfect. So it actually ties to the MVP. It's minimal viable project product. And yeah, just make sure that you understand the main issue you're trying to solve. So just try to understand, like do the gap analysis, maybe with the help of consulting firms who can help you understand where the biggest gaps are and start with the small issues and fix them first. So it means nice to have issues should be excluded at all. So from my experience, it all started with the fact to understand whether we are compliant with most of the rules, like responsible AI and anything like this. And after that, we went into understanding what should be nice to have. I mean, in the law, there is nothing, no such thing like nice to have. Everything is you should have, but at least you understand. So I would say that we can summarize is that first of all, ownership is like priority one. And second, just make sure that you are driving this, like, let's start from something rather than it being ideal. So yeah, just make sure that you're doing this. And the last thing is that rules, as you said, Natalia, always give people clarity and transparency on the rules, what exactly you expect from them, the expected behavior. So what you need to do is write, like as you said, do's and don'ts, like small pages. Always give them rule and understand them, understand your business. If you are in-house and consulting is it's also like an advice to understand the business. Because if they experiment a lot, give them rules so that they can do it without privacy approvals and extensive reviews. Just try to give rules so that they can self-serve themselves, even when you are still understanding AI, because you already understand what is good and what is not good. Try to
Mhm.
give clear rules because engineers, products, they're not thriving in the environment where everything is unclear and where people just say, oh, there is AI, we should do the responsible AI. And they ask, what is responsible AI? Oh, when we develop it responsibly, not clear at all. So just give them rules, understand to whom you give these rules, and it already like 60% of success. And 40% is them implementing these rules, but we will not talk about this.
Right, right. And also, I second that completely. And I think avoid legalese. As you've said, it's just hard to stomach sometimes those texts for us lawyers. I can only imagine what it's like for product and engineering teams. And I also would advise to, you know, most often than not, the products that you're developing, of course, could be very unique, but still, there are already companies who are doing maybe something similar. And for the product and engineering teams, it could be good to have, examples. Maybe you will reference something so they will understand that it's first that it's feasible to do that, and second, how they can actually implement. So
Yeah, it's a good point because every time you're working with products and engineers, I think that it's the same for you, Natalie. It's
yeah.
like, but what our competitors are doing, and you do this corporate espionage a little bit. You're writing to your friends in different competitors' companies, so you just try to search and look for this information on the internet. So yeah, try to see what competitors are doing. And in terms of AI, there is a great thing that European Commission was publishing something on their website on the approach, let's say, at least for AI literacy in different companies, starting from small startups. So whoever submitted this information. And it was a great help because AI literacy was different. It was starting from very customized approaches, very like in gaming, for example, approach like a game or quizzes or whatever. It was very interesting to see how you can adopt this. And for my lower mind, I was like, oh wow. Yeah, it was awesome just to see all of these things that were implemented in different companies. Okay, so to summarize, what is AI governance? Different definitions, but what you need to understand, you implement the requirements from the law, from different policies or, principles into your company processes. It becomes real when it starts affecting your company. So it can be when the law is implemented, actually, or it can start even before that. But it starts definitely before the document is created, because the document that you create as like AI policy or whatever, it based on the existing behavior always. It shouldn't be new rules. It should be existing behavior that you adjust a little bit, let's say, and start with minimal viable product. That means just a small program that fixes something very important. and not nice to have issues. So don't try to tell them that they need to do, I don't know, to build the rocket. Let's start with the wheel at least. Yeah. I don't know why I said wheel because rocket doesn't have wheels most likely. I'm a privacy. I'm not an engineer, sorry. Okay, so if we move forward, so you most likely now can ask, okay, you said what AI governance means, but how to build this, from where to start? And we can move to another slide where we actually can tell you how.
Yes, but I believe we are speaking about different
Yeah.
sort of two main distinctions could be made. First, when a company builds a governance for third party, when they use third party AI, and on the other hand, the process looks a bit different for companies who are building their own AI products. And probably our audience could share with us whether they are on which side they are, whether they are more working with companies that are just using third-party AI, or they are going hardcore AI governance with, developing their own AI products. And basically, I believe that we as a consultants probably are best for things that are require the expertise, maybe some templates for things like vendor risk assessment. We can definitely help um, with the vendor checklists and all of that. So I believe that probably, and also this type of companies that use third-party AI, I think that this is the majority of companies. So mostly, if they are not in IT, I would say most companies just not trying to not trying to build now all their products, all their features with AI, but just use maybe internally third-party AI services. And but still, the keywords here would be the right selection of the AI tools and the inventory for that you need to have a good oversight and monitoring, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
here we talk about the deployer. Maybe just to also give an example what in which cases your company can be a deployer. So when you, let's say, use ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever, and you onboard this in your company for, like, let's say, usage by the whole company, you are a deployer. So you are not the user, you are a deployer. It was also quite news for me when the EU Act was published, and I kind of understood that we are deployers because we still have obligations. That was a little bit stupid for me and awkward to know this, but this is what we need to have. So every time you onboard any AI, you just need to understand that you, first of all, you need to onboard this AI properly. And you also need to understand that you are now a deployer under the EU AI Act and you have certain obligations. That's part of this you see on the screen. So it doesn't mean that's Natalia and I were just giving you random governance advice right now. It's just something that ties to your obligations to the EU AI Act as well. So be careful with this because even if you think that you are not working with AI, you don't develop anything and AI Act does not apply to you, that's not true. If you use AI in any way, it applies. But good news, when you use AI to check your symptoms or whatever disease you have in your personal life, you're still a user, you don't have deploy obligations under AI Act. But maybe it would be good if we would then chat a little bit less with AI on this kind of weird things. Okay, yeah, and if you're a provider, you have much more obligations. And for AI governance, you should have an incident response plans, you should have risk classification, risk mapping, risk register, whatever. You should have all the documentation. You also should have human oversight processes when and how they should be. You also need to register your system if they're a high-risk system. You should be able to do the post-market monitoring, give more transparency, all the processes. that you should implement as part of AI governance. So if you are developing something on your behalf from like under your trademark, this is what you will get as parts of AI governance. And if you are deployer and AI and provider, then you have even more things to consider in your AI governance program.
True.
Yeah.
And here I also would love to maybe discuss and just overall share this idea that it is not an external review at the end, AI governance. So I often come across companies that are coming for consulting services, and basically everything is already built, maybe even launched, and we are working with basically already developed product. So there is not much we can do, or we can do, of course, but it's much harder to go into the model development and testing stage. It requires much more time and effort also from the engineering part. So yeah, I would really highlight, I would love to highlight once again that um, this is where AI governance becomes part of responsible product development and really has to start with AI system design. So when when there is maybe not even an MVP in place, but you already have the idea what data you will be using, what model you will employ, and therefore you maybe save more time and money if AI governance professionals will come to you early on in this product lifecycle.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, and just one question. So that we check in because now on the background we have a question. Do you guys see our presentation? Just give heads up any reaction if you see, because we are now. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, that's great. And yeah, sorry for interrupting because yeah, just wanted to check in that all was fine. Um, okay. We also promised to tell you what to do with this AI governance issue, yeah, how to build this. And why I also said that privacy team should be responsible for this take ownership in building AI governance is just because most of the things exist in the privacy program already, all these assessments and everything. It already exists in the privacy program, and how you build your AI governance program is that you add AI specific controls like risk assessment for high risk, transparency risk, or prohibited practices. You add fundamental risk assessments, right impact assessment. You add compatibility assessment. So everything that is stated, like transparency, is something that is similar to GDPR as well. If we talk about the transparency risk AI systems. And this is what you just add to your privacy program, and you actually get one governance system. What is the concept is you can think is that privacy program is always about personal data, while AI Act applies to both personal and non-personal data. This is something that you need to look out in this situation, because we are only giving you the tip that legal teams, they don't have such kind of governance programs that would be close to AI Act as a GDPR or any other privacy program. That's why it's logical that you just build and do add on to your existing privacy program with AI, but just make sure that you not only consider personal data, but also non-personal data. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I completely on the same page with Tatiana. I think that's the big misconception that you have to build a governance program from scratch. And yeah, thankfully, most companies already have somewhat a privacy program in place. Of course, it may not be perfect, and also it's a great opportunity not only to build AI. Um, AI maybe section into this privacy program, but also improve on privacy program overall. So if you have this opportunity, definitely take it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And when you're working on this, just make sure that, yeah, you may build just a little bit different assessments when it comes to non-personal data. But just to give you like an information as well, that 90% of your AI features would include personal data in this and that sense. So that's why still, even this like downside of this issue can be covered by the fact that data is now the greatest asset in each and every company. So yeah. I know that it does not clarify a lot to you. I mean, there is no clear roadmap that we gave to you or wherever, but at least what we gave to you is that you can combine this. And if you know from where to start, just look at your privacy program and include the same for AI. And then just add AI specific assessments into the assessments for privacy, like privacy impact assessment that goes before data protection impact assessment. Records of person activities is your AI mapping tool. You can see in your ROPA what is exactly happening and see what potentially can be trained with AI. And this is the like, let's say 50 or even 60% of your AI mapping in the company. Vendor due diligence, it shouldn't be different for AI governance, because vendor assessment and onboarding should be the same for AI and non-AI features. So AI can even help you to improve your vendor onboarding and due diligence at some points. And today was also an interesting situation. We were discussing the experimentation for teams with AI, with engineers, and one of the engineers, she asked like, but how does it differ with AI and not AI? We're still doing experimentation without AI, and it seems that rules should be the same. And it was a mind-blowing point. That's why we also focus on AI. If there are exactly all the processes that should follow the same pattern as AI. So it's just something for you to think of as well, that you should not create something different for AI. You should make sure that you just consider AI in your processes. So you review the processes and see, will it work for AI, or should we add something additional on top of this? But do not create in like something specific for AI, and then people would ask like, why AI? Why not all other projects that are kind of the same as AI? So yeah, this is um we can give to you as a tip as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What else we can discuss? Yeah. Typical AI governance mistakes. It's only something that we actually found. But Natalia, what was your when one of the companies, let's say, approached you to support with AI governance? What first mistake you noticed that you can give right now, just on top of your mind? What was the biggest mistake you noticed?
Well, um, I think we've talked about ownership quite a lot, so I will skip that. But also the fact that companies typically concentrate quite a lot on the AI product that they are developing, for example, but may forget the third-party AI that they are using internally in HR processes, for example, that are not client-facing, so to speak, but they're also part should be part of the AI governance overall. And therefore, I would say AI inventory should be the first thing on your list when you're starting creating your program, just to get a good understanding. And that's where I think probably um, good in-house expertise helps, because you are from day to day on a day-to-day basis, you're interacting with other teams, and therefore there's just more contact and more context for you to find those AI use cases that may be sometimes omitted when you're just talking with one contact person from the respective company. So
Yeah, yeah. From my perspective, it's a great point that you also said regarding focusing too much on own products that they are developing, because it was also one of the things that I was doing when I was at doing this AI governance. But it was basically the risk alignment, I would say, because we were mostly focused on a thing that we need to figure out what to do with the products that are quite a lot of products, what we should do before AI Act enters into force, and not only AI, but there were also like Vietnam Act or whatever. So a lot of acts, and we were just thinking about this. But then we understood that the rules for other systems they were already in force, and we were focusing on hybris that even now postponed. So I would say that it's also risk alignment, but you should maybe restructure it a little bit because the rules for deployers for like simple like prohibited practices was in force. Okay, that was fine, but you are still you use the AI system as the deployer, and you already is being affected by this. You already need to know how give the rules to understand whether you are compliant with everything that's going to be. So I would say that there should be always a risk-based approach from your side, whether you need to focus on your own products or focus on something that you're already doing. And the second mistake that I personally had when I was working on AI governance, I was trying to do the fourth point, one size fits all governance. I created like AI literacy, an AI policy where I tried to actually include all of the departments into this. And when engineers from different departments were supporting with feedback, I understood that it's not possible. They all have different situations. I would not be able to tailor it to each of them in one policy, and I would not be able to do it one size fits all governance. And that's gave me the thoughts that yeah, there should be two different documents that we will align with what people need to know as when they use third-party AI and those who are developing AI, because it's impossible. So don't try to do this. I know that sometimes we write policies just for the sake of policy to exist, but in this case, it's better not to publish anything and work on some really valuable products. And in this case, just try to understand your audience, what exactly they are doing, your teams, and where exactly you would like them to follow the rules, and then create whatever document you would like. You can call it whatever you like, but give them rules that will be tailored to their exact function. Otherwise, they will just comment and say, "What do you mean here? I don't understand what you want from me." So yeah. But if we talk about not negative but positive side, what surprised you the most when you were working with products engineers, let's say, doing AI governance? What surprised you the most in their behavior?
Well, I believe that they are very much aware of the potential AI risk. What risks can AI bring? Because, well, they are pretty much involved into, well, if not developing the models and such, but still they have a lot of context on how, there are a lot of biases, and also there's a bit, I would say, a bit much even of coverage of such cases on the internet, and therefore people actually, I would say, well aware about the risk that AI can bring. In comparison to, privacy risks, I believe sometimes it's a little bit vague for most of non-lawyers. Therefore, I believe, especially teams who are working on products, let's say in health sector, or yeah, I would say health medical sector, they are, I would say, very keen onto um, mitigate certain risks that are coming from, training data on not representative sets and stuff like that. So they're, I would say, proactively highlighting certain issues, even for us as consultants.
Mhm. I think that's what you mentioned. It also the fact that I also noticed that
Mm.
with AI and AI Act, compliance with AI is seen as the selling point for most of the companies compared to privacy one. Because as you said, if you're working in health, privacy and like data protection is always a selling point in such cases. But if you're working in a simple IT company where like privacy is not like a selling point, it's difficult to even prove to the business why it should be a selling point. With AI, it's different because they are all making AI compliance as something that companies should choose them because this is AI compliant. That's weird. I don't know, but this is how it works. And that's why they're more aware about risks. Maybe it's just because it's I don't know, maybe privacy is so complex for them that AI is much simpler for them because they're working as engineers product, they're working with AI, they're building AI and they understand the risks, they understand why it's important because with privacy most likely they don't understand all of this risk when they're working with this. I don't know, but this is definitely the approach that I've also noticed that they are more aware about risks and they see it as a selling point. So they're like they work with you a bit more. And it's easier to work when you do AI governance than you do privacy governance and privacy compliance.
True, true. I think you're completely on point with the fact that with AI compliance, we are coming from the positives, from selling points, and when we are talking about privacy compliance, typically we're referring to the negatives, to the potential fines and such, and probably that will also sort of not really enticing to our stakeholders, and yeah, and if we are looking at the scale, even when AI Act were only in the in the drafts, still people were, even without fines, were motivated to to look into these
Mhm.
issues. So yeah, I think you're spot on with the fact that it actually can bring value. That's
Yeah,
why.
that's our big help in
Mm.
this way. Okay, and let's now finalize with the last section. Finalize this webinar is who to choose, in-house, consulting, or hybrid. Me and Natalie, we agree that we are not going to praise each other in terms of I'm praising in-house and she's praising consulting. That's why I will ask a question from Natalia. Why do you believe that in-house may be a big help? And then I will tell why I believe that consulting can be a help for AI governance.
Well, I believe that in-house consultants possess the needed context in order to govern, especially AI products, because they really need to be on top of the whole product lifecycle. Therefore, it's very important to have um, connection with all the teams, and that you know to have a good understanding of the business needs, also some business restraints, because typically you know the consultants are given certain information, something could be withheld from them, and therefore a person who is actually within the company can have better understanding of risk appetites of the company as well. And also, I believe from the communication standpoint, engineering teams and product teams, they are more likely to proactively interact with in-house professionals rather than consultants, because they don't feel like they are some sort of an outsider outside of the organization. So yeah, I would say that's one of those pros to in-house AI governance.
It's great to hear. Great to hear these. But I would also say why I would also, first of all, I need to say that I would mostly choose hybrid, working with in-house and consulting. And why I will choose to work with consulting is that, first of all, it always access to specialists with reliable knowledge. What I mean is that mostly consultant firms, and correct me if I'm wrong, Natalia, is that before any act is even being enforced and implemented, of course, consultancy firms, they are already starting like doing and gaining knowledge and boosting their knowledge into the specific expertise. And if you are working with a company that says, oh, we understand AI, you can trust that they understand AI. And while you may not understand AI. So this is how it actually works, that you can get access to knowledge quite easy. And where, how do you think where they get this knowledge? Of course, they get this knowledge in our AICP course that Natalia also just passed. And this was exactly like the case when Natalia was one of the students there. And now she's also given this advice based on the EU Act from this course. So yeah, this is also one of the things that you need to consider, that your consultancy firm, like lawyers or in-house lawyers, should always be prepared for new acts, via kind of courses and certifications and etc. So this is case of Natalia. She has AIGP and she also passed the course on like AICP that is being provided by the DPO office. And this is how you can get access to the specialist knowledge. And what is also important is that in consulting, you can get great access to audits and reviews, because not all the time, you as an in-house lawyer, you do have time to actually do these audits and review it from like fresh eyes, because you will see, oh, in this case, this is the business, this is we decided to skip, this and this and this is that. You will always find multiple reasons why to say that it's all right, while they will just provide you with the whole document with all of the evidences where you are not doing great, let's say. And of course, this is where you can get their help, is ask them to do the gap analysis and see where you actually need to do the changes. And my advice to you, when you are working and doing AI governance with consulting firms, leverage their knowledge. They are partners, so always, if you have questions, ask them. This is the best way to learn, because they may have multiple clients from multiple jurisdictions, from multiple areas supporting on AI governance. And you may ask them questions, and that's how you will learn. The mere certification, the courses is not enough, because experience is the most important. So leverage them. Don't see that as, oh, it's a consulting firm, I don't want to hire them because I'm also smart enough, I can do this. Yes, you're smart enough and you can do this in partnering with other people. So it doesn't mean that you're stupid. It just means that consulting knows a little bit better about some things that you may not know. So that's why I would say that hybrid is much more better, because you have some in-house understanding, ownership, understanding of the business. You understand the risk appetite of your business, of course. But at the same time, you can use the knowledge of other people and learn from them and ask a lot of questions that's they may know. So yeah, this is how we will approach this. I would say from our side, when to choose in-house consulting or hybrid. And yeah, just finishing up our webinar. Let us do the interactive session with you. So let us know whether you got every like information that you wanted to get. Did we live up to your expectations? Do you have any questions that we may answer to you? Write it in the chat, because it's really important for us to understand what questions were not covered, or you can raise your hand and speak if you want. Yeah, Tatiana, go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the lecture. It was quite interesting. I just finished privacy management course, and I have one question about how to combine AI governance and governance in the area of privacy, because as I can understand, AI governance should be included in privacy management system. So how it is better to combine, because we have ISO standards as basis, for example, and how it is better to use standard for privacy and standard for the AI risk management. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would respond in the way that, of course, you need to understand that it's two different acts. Privacy works on personal data, AI works on AI development and deployment. So you should keep this in mind. But in terms of governance, you can use exactly the same assessment and exactly the same system as you're doing privacy assessment. That what we were trying to say, that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to make sure that your AI governance is mimicking your privacy program governance. Like it's the same principles. That's what you can implement. So, for example, if we talk about privacy impact assessment, let's say business goes to you and say, we would like to launch this feature. You just need to have additional sections in your privacy impact assessment related to AI. What AI Act requires you may include into this. The same goes to the DPIA assessment. You can include additional questions related to AI into DPIA assessment, like if it's high risk system, DPIA is done for high risk activities as well. So you can include, for example, questions like fundamental risk impact assessment that is required for high risk systems. So you can include it in the DPIA. So you don't necessarily need to have, oh, this is for AI, this is for GDPR, this is for DMA, this is for DSA, and etc. A lot of digital law acts and a lot of systems. Just try to merge them into one, but to understand what are you trying to achieve was implementing these questions into assessment. Don't mix that's the goal is the same. Privacy is about personal data, AI is about AI development and deployment, but you can make it easier for you when you just combine all the questions into one governance system. I hope it somehow clarifies the question.
Yes, but what about governance structure? For example, we accepted charter regarding our authorities, how we will exercise our communications, and then we decided to have an AI system. So how it will be better to include company bodies concerning AI connecting with privacy bodies. For example, we have DPO and maybe some AI consultants. How it will be better to connect them? I mean, regarding the authorities, because we have some systems, we classify the systems and we have controllers regarding these systems. And then we include new AI system, processing personal data as well. So it will be out of the scope of, for example, ISO regarding privacy, but it will the other scope. And how about structure inside the company? I mean bodies and, for example, we have privacy champions. And what about AI?
Natalia, would you like to answer?
Yes, sure. First question that I've sort of heard is that you have, let's say, DPO and AI consultant or AI professional, governance professional. So I believe for AI processes, AI governance professional should be the one responsible, but DPO should be consulted. So therefore, they are not overlapping in their respective responsibilities, but they are connected through that. As Tatiana have pointed out, not in AI. In AI systems, not only personal data, but also non-personal data could be involved. Therefore, I would say it's better to have DPO as a consultant rather than the responsible in this regard. If you have two people that can can have those responsibilities. And as for the privacy champions, I think, well, typically privacy champions are could be just as valuable for well, it really depends on how you would define privacy champion, because well, sometimes it's just people who are really well eager to help out the DPO and stuff like that, and sometimes it's just people who are, let's say, the head of departments, and they are also called privacy champions. So if those are the latter, I would say they should be just as involved in privacy matters if their respective department uses third-party AI or develops AI products.
Yeah, I do agree. And I also agree that it depends on the company because, for example, privacy champions, they are also eager to be AI champions as well. In some cases, AI champions are different people in the way that they have more technical background. So, I mean, it's engineers, products, they are AI champions. But as Natalia also said, that as I said, it's different purposes of the acts. Of course, the DPO and let's say AI governance specialist, if there is such a position, they will be like two different people doing two different tasks, but they both should be like consulted or responsible in this and that situation, depending on like whether it's privacy or AI, the same as authorities. Authorities either can be privacy authority would be responsible in some countries for AI and privacy. In some countries, there will be two different authorities. So it just depends on how you make it possible in your company, how it's better. I would say that, as I said, privacy is working on AI. So for me, privacy champion and would be the one who is responsible for AI as well and being AI champion as well. But it depends. So it will not hurt if you have more champions like AI champion or another specialist, but just make sure that they all are connected to each other. So that's there is no silo and they both understand that they can take something from both.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree, because maybe, for example, if we are talking about high risk AI system, maybe sometimes it makes sense to have a special champions for AI. And yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. And also a question from Sergey is, does it make any sense to introduce and maintain the register of AI system which are in use within the company deployer, like ROPA, as part of the AI governance system? So it's a good question in the way that there is no direct obligation in the AI Act to have an AI register for deployers, but such systems are usually being maintained by InfoSec or IT company for the sake of just seeing which systems were kind of approved, which you are using as the deployer. And it would be easier for you if these teams will maintain this, and you may also see which systems were onboarded correctly, which system can be used, and to which specific systems you should have like deployer obligations. I would not recommend not having this because you need to understand, and your in place also need to understand which system they can use and etc., rather than not having anything. So I would say yes, it does make sense, but I would say and pitch that it shouldn't be privacy or legal team responsible for this system. It should be, I would say, push it to InfoSec and IT teams who will update it all the time, because it's not a direct requirement from the EU AI Act. So don't take a lot of obligations and a lot of responsibilities into your pocket. Push it to other teams who should actually and would be able to do so. Okay, and now we need to finish this because this is time, and I know that we all would like to talk more and more and more. But before we finish, firstly, I wanted to say that I would be more than happy to see you all on the ICP course that we are gonna have from June 29 till July 29. On the AICP course, we will talk about AI governance, we will talk about roles, we will talk about when AI Act applies. And I would be the teacher along with Petruda, Piran. We would be teachers of this course. And of course, we may answer all the questions you may have. And I promise that you will get the better understanding of AI Act after this course. And if you are happy with this and if you would like to join as the teacher of this course, for people who join this webinar, I actually have a link to give you a 50% discount. It's my personal discount code for those who join this webinar. So I will share it in a minute in the chat, and I would be happy to see you all. You have time like 48 hours, as far as I remember, to register for the course using this 15% discount. So would be happy to see you all. And before we actually say goodbye to you, one piece of advice that you, Natalia, can share with the audience.
I would say in order to build an AI governance, you have to start with the AI inventory, and probably that would be my piece of advice uh, to talk with your teams if you are in-house, what AI they are using. Sometimes it's shadow AI and not corporate one. So to get a better understanding of your use cases, first of all, and on that you build up.
Yeah, and I would be maybe a little bit more like in this case, I would say that don't be afraid of AI governance at all. Take this if you can take this in your company, even if you don't understand this, you will understand this one day. AI is kind of future in a way that AI would be used everywhere. So just don't be afraid of AI governance, as you are not afraid of being a lawyer, being a privacy specialist. It's the same. It's just a new sphere, a new area. Just take on it. And yeah, just come to us. We will give you the necessary knowledge and support if you need this. And yeah, Tatiana, question?
Yeah, just recommendation course is fantastic because I already finished it. And Tatiana, you're the best. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Tatiana. So yeah, this is what our students they say. So yeah, see ya all when we see ya, hopefully on the course, and have a good evening. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.